Hello, hello, People Stack family. Depending on when you're listening to this, it's either Happy New Year or soon to be Happy New Year. For those of you who are watching this in the Facebook group, it's going to be released before New Year's, and then we are taking a week off in between Christmas and New Year's. Well, Christmas and New Year's, and then we'll be back to work January, whatever the Monday after New Year's is. And then this podcast gets released after that. The folks in the Facebook group get first dibs, but then the podcast is released after it. So whenever it is you're listening to it, the new year is upon us or already here. And as I was thinking about what to talk about as the calendar shifts, I was reminded of, I can't even think of a specific commercial or ad, but you probably know the ones that I'm talking about, where it's like, new year, new you, right? Maybe you've seen Facebook ads or, YouTube ads, or in the olden days when we used to watch commercials on the television set. New year, new you, right? So maybe it's like a beauty product or a fitness product or even something else, more of a lifestyle product or something that purports to help your, it could even be like a mattress or something like that. Like, sleep on this mattress and you're going to have a new you, right? Like, new year, new you. And it kind of promises, like, with this, just buy this one product, or like with these 3 simple steps, it's just going to be a completely upgraded version of you, completely upgraded in terms of your body and your physicality and your vitality and your relationships and your career, right? You could completely change who you are with this one product or these 3 simple steps. And so I'm going to wave the BS flag on that one. Surprise, surprise, right? I'm going to call it BS. That, you can buy one product or follow 3 simple steps and really quickly, in the matter of a week, completely change who you are. Because, look, we know that it doesn't happen that way, but yet we're hooked in by that stuff. We're hooked in by that stuff all the time, because one of my firm beliefs, and this is for me, but my guess is that it's for some of you as well, that the reason that stuff hooks us in, new year, new you, transform who you are, upgrade yourself, upgrade your internal operating system, become the best version of yourself, why that resonates on such a deep level is because I believe this, and I believe that many other people believe this too, is that our purpose on this earth, the reason that we're here, is to slowly but surely, and sometimes faster than we actually think, that our purpose is to become the best versions of ourselves, to upgrade our internal operating system, to upgrade our consciousness, to upgrade who we are. And collectively, as we're all doing that, we are collectively raising the level of human consciousness, raising the level of human thought and human being, what it means to be a human. We're evolving as humans. During the first part of our evolution, it was about this physical aspect of it. Everybody's seen the caveman evolution, right? And what we look like. And while certainly there are still physical and biological upgrades that are happening, I believe that now is the time that we're beginning to also, let's call it over the last 50 years or so, that we've really begun to evolve our consciousness. I've reread the Celestine Prophecy recently, which is one of the reasons why this is on my mind. But it's metaphysical, it's spiritual, but it's philosophical, but it's also very practical as well. Look, I'm a real practical girl. For those of you who've been following me for a while, and certainly for those of you who have worked with us, there is a side of me that is very spiritual, very magical. And I love that part of life. But there's also a side of me that is extremely practical and efficient and effective. And it's bringing those two sides together that I love to shine. Like that's my sweet spot. And that's what I bring out, what I love to bring out in these podcasts, and I'm sharing with you. So as the dawn of a new year, or the new year is upon us, do you magically become a new person simply because the calendar turns? No. Does the world magically change simply because the calendar turns? No. I was watching, I believe it was Kristen Wiig who did the SNL monologue this past week. And there was a joke in there. I think it was her. There was something SNL, Saturday Night Live, where they're saying like basically, oh, so the world, when the calendar turns and January 1st comes, everything's going to be back to normal. COVID's not going to be a thing anymore, and we can all visit one another, and it's all going to be back to normal. No? Oh, okay. So, and we know that it's just that like we really wish that were so. We really wish that were the case, but it's not. So then the question becomes, how do you create a new you? And more on point, more on topic for this particular podcast, because I forgot to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jen Bunk. I'm a career coach for tech managers. What do we do here? We help tech managers like you upgrade your careers, build your dream career. And part of that process is becoming the best version of yourself. And upgrading your belief system. I refer to your internal operating system. Part of that is your belief system, your value system, how you think about the world, how you make meaning about the world. That absolutely needs to upgrade in order for you to become the best leader you can possibly be. So that's the on-point question. How can I become this new me, this upgraded version of me as a technical leader? How do I upgrade myself so that in the process, I build my dream career? And they're related to one another, right? As we upgrade ourselves, we reach more and more toward our dreams and we create them. And as we create more and more of our dreams, we upgrade ourselves, right? So they're intricately intertwined with one another. So the question is, how do we do that? How do you do that? If it's not by the calendar turning, how do you create a new you? How do you, and even more precisely, because I don't want to make the impression that you're broken. None of you are broken. None of you needs to throw out your you right now. Throw out your belief system, throw out who you are, and start over again. I'm not recommending that at all. You right now are amazing. You right now are unstoppable. You right now are decisive and committed and resourceful. You right now are an amazing leader. So then the question becomes, how do I get even better? How do I build on the 30, 40, 50 plus years of experience that I've already had on this earth to do even more? To open up even more, even newer possibilities that had not been open before. So how do you become even more the best version of yourself as a technical leader and as a human? How do you build your dream career? It's the same question, just from slightly different vantage points. here's how you do it. And I'm not going to say that these are three simple steps, because the thing is that like when people hear simple, they sometimes hear easy, right? But I'm a language decoder. I love language. They actually are simple, but they're not easy. So that's what I want to be clear about. I've talked about this before, right? That when people use the word simple, they sometimes, it's like, oh, well, this is going to be easy. And then you actually might shy away from it because you know that it's not going to be easy. So when I say that they're three simple steps, what I mean is that they're three straightforward steps. They're three steps that are non-complex. They're not complicated. You don't need to go get a PhD like I did. Although if you want to, you could, but that's not the reason why you're doing it. If you want to upgrade your career, don't get a PhD. There's a different reason that you get a PhD. Maybe I'll do another podcast on that. But anyway, when I say that these are three simple steps, they're straightforward. They're not complex. They're not easy though. And it's not going to happen overnight. What you're doing when you follow these three steps, these three straightforward steps, is you're committing to a journey. And in some ways, you're committing to a journey that you've already been on since the beginning of your career, since the beginning of your life. And what you're committing to is approaching it in a different way, with a different mindset, with a different heart set, with a different soul set, from a different place. You're going to be taking different kinds of actions because of that. And you're going to get different kinds of results because of it as well. So what are the three straightforward steps to becoming, to even more being on this journey toward becoming the best leader, technical leader you can possibly be, and upgrading your career in the process? What are the steps? So number one, you need to build your excellence as a leader. And we've talked about this before, but it's absolutely worth talking about again. And so what do we mean by building excellence as a leader? First of all, leadership, here's how I'll say it. I'm going to wave the BS flag again on leaders are born and not made. I absolutely, hate's a strong word. I don't like to go negative. I hate that statement. Leaders are born and not made. Whoever said it should be shunned to live in 1980s computing forever. Leaders are born and not made. That BS flag, that is the biggest BS flag ever. No, leadership is a skill, and leadership is a skill that you can master. And it takes time to master it. And when you hit a level, it's like, oh, wow, this is so cool. I'm really dialing it in now. There's always another level. There's always another level of mastery, like that game that never ends. Like that game when you think you fought the final boss and you collected the loot and it's awesome. And then it's like, oh, wow, there's another level. That's what the leadership upgrading process is about. So you want to build your excellence as a leader. So that means refining your skills, upgrading your abilities around leadership, around building relationships, around thinking strategically, and motivating your team, and inspiring your team, and getting even more efficient and even more effective at getting things done. That you're constantly, it's like your craft. There's a science to leadership in that there are best practices in a bunch of the processes and the systems around leadership. So for example, hi, IO psychologist here, going to speak. IO psychologist Jen is going to speak for a minute. So there are absolutely best practices found through research, through years and years and years of research. For example, on hiring, how to make the best hiring decisions, on meetings, how to run the best meetings. My colleague, Steve Rogelberg, fellow UConn alum, go Huskies, wrote a fabulous book on meetings, the surprising science of meetings. So there's definitely science around that. There's a science around giving feedback. There's a science around performance reviews and how to review performance and how to assess performance and how to best do that. So there absolutely is the science side of it, but then there's the art of it, the art of leadership. The science piece of it, like the process, the strategy, that's actually relatively easy to learn. It may not be like 100% straightforward, especially to people who are not familiar with the world that, oh, wow, there's a science behind leadership. So that's why a lot of our clients hire us. Actually, one of the reasons anyway is, oh, wow, I can work with a scientist who can translate the like millions of pages of leadership research for me and boil it down into a few trainings. Like that's one of the things that we do for our clients. So it is actually relatively straightforward when you have an expert to guide you, right? A person who is familiar with the science of leadership, with the science of organizational psychology, with the science of the way organizations work. That stuff is actually, especially when we're talking about the best practices, that stuff is pretty straightforward. That's pretty easy, and I'm using that word intentionally there, to learn. There's the cutting edge of science, right? So that's where it can be a little bit like, oh my God, what is the best way to run a one-on-one? Really, what is the best way to make sure that we empower our teams? What really is the best way to incorporate diversity? Like that's kind of cutting edge stuff that we don't necessarily have best practices around yet, but there's certainly some really, really great suggestions that we can use. But the science piece of it is straightforward, especially when we're talking about the tried and true stuff that has been best practices for the last 30, 40, 50 years. The harder piece is the art, because there's no system there. There's no process there except do it. You know, one of my mentors once said to me, I know you do leadership, Jen, but really, like you train your clients on how to be the best leaders. But really, in my mind, the best way to learn how to be the best leader is to lead. Dive in there and lead. Get in the ring. Get in the ring and do it. Raise your hands and lead your team. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. Like, that's the art of it. And that's the art of it that takes some time to evolve. So that's number one. That's number one for how you create this new you, right? This upgraded version of you. You're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater and keeping your current self, but you're upgrading yourself to build your dream career, to command a salary of at least $200K or more, to land that hell yes job, to earn that promotion. What's step one toward doing that? You're building your excellence. You're continually and you're committed to building your excellence as a leader. Step two, you have to. This is required. You cannot skip this step. You have to evangelize your excellence. Because if you don't do this, all of that hard work that you put in to building your excellence is for nothing. You might as well be throwing the baby out with the bathwater if you don't consistently and effectively and to the right people evangelize your excellence. It's another reason why our clients hire us is because while they've kind of sort of figured out the building excellence piece of it, although they know they need some help with it, they know that they're not evangelizing. Either because they don't know how, they're not comfortable, and it's just something that's new to them. Or they don't want to come off like that arrogant prick who's just all about it, give me more money. You want to do it with integrity. You want to do it with authenticity. You want to do it with heart. You want to do it as the true you who is a compassionate, authentic, assertive leader. So you have to evangelize your excellence. You have to promote yourself. You have to promote your team. And you have to do it in a way that others hear it. Because some people say, I do evangelize. Like once a year, I tell my boss all the projects that I won on. I'm exaggerating just a little bit, but we have heard stuff like that before. That's not good enough. You can't just do it once a year, and you can't do it with your little mousy voice. You have to stand up and say, hey, everyone, I am so proud. I am so honored to have led this project. to completion. And we 10x'd our revenue, and we kept a client that would have ran away. And my team is shining, and it is such a privilege and an honor to lead this team to this victory and to play such a pivotal role in shaping the future of this organization. And it is my honor to do that. And I love leading this team. It's that kind of a thing. And you have to do that not just once, not just twice, all the time. And I know that that's not easy for some of you because it doesn't feel in integrity. So it's about finding the way that it feels authentic, that it feels in integrity. And part of it is that you're just not used to doing it. And so it hasn't been conditioned yet. So that's also, it's conditioning the habit of evangelizing. So that's number 2. You have to evangelize your excellence. And then number 3, you have to cultivate the mind of a leader. This is what we call the mind of a leader piece. So what's cool about this piece is that simply by doing 1 and 2, by building your excellence and evangelizing your excellence as a technical leader, that's going to happen as a byproduct. But we don't want the mindset piece, the performance psychology piece of this to be on the back burner, the byproduct piece. We actually want this to be a central piece. You want to recognize yourself as a leader. You want to appreciate yourself as a leader. Because if you don't do that first, no one is going to recognize you. You have to sell yourself first. So if you're wanting to get a promotion, if you're wanting to land a new awesome job, if you're wanting to get that raise, you're not going to get it if you haven't sold yourself first on it. In other words, if you're still telling yourself, the deepest, darkest version of yourself is still whispering, your inner self is still whispering, you don't deserve it. You're not good enough. That's why you haven't gotten it before. You're an imposter. If that's still there, then you can't sell yourself because you don't feel in integrity saying how awesome you are because you don't believe how awesome you are. So it's about building that inner awesomeness. One of the things, I joke about it, but it's absolutely true, that one of the things that we do is with our clients is we help them realize how badass they really are. All of our clients come to us and we see the inner badass, but they don't. We help call that forth. So those are the 3 steps to continually upgrading the best version of your leadership self, to building your dream career. Number 1, you have to build your excellence as a leader. Number 2, you have to evangelize that excellence. Number 3, you have to continually cultivate the mind of a leader, the mindset, the performance psychology of being a leader right now. Not, maybe someday I'll do that. No, right now I am a leader. Hear me roar, go team, go. It's that. That's how you want to be showing up every day. 3 straightforward steps. I know a lot of aha moments and light bulbs have lit for you because it's oh, wow, I actually didn't realize that it could be that straightforward. It's not going to be easy. I didn't expect it to be easy. I don't want it to be easy because I'm not going to upgrade my internal operating system. I'm not going to become a better version of myself if it's easy. But I love how straightforward it is. But then it's kind of okay, how? Right? If you grew up in tech, you ask how a lot. It's kind of all right, we need to build this app. We need to solve this client problem. We need to fix this bug. How? And you dive right into it. But this is a problem that you haven't solved before. If you had solved it, you probably wouldn't be listening right now. And if you could solve it on your own, you wouldn't be listening right now. That's where we come in. Because the how, you can't find it in a book. The how, you can't find it in a YouTube video. Not even the ones that I put out. The how, you can't find it by simply chatting with your friends on Slack and colleagues on Slack. The how You haven't found the how yet, because it has to be customized. It has to be custom tailored to who you are and who you want to become, and what's your life that surrounds you right now, your circumstances, your context. It has to be custom tailored. That's why you haven't found it yet. So cut yourself some slack, to use slack in a slightly different way. Cut yourself some slack here. Give yourself some grace. Don't get bent all out of shape about the fact that you haven't figured out how to upgrade your career yet. The reason is because, first of all, you didn't have that clarity around these 3 straightforward steps. And second of all, you're not going to figure out the how without experts to guide you. And that's where we come in. Because we are your expert guides. We're your Sherpas. Would you climb Mount Everest without hiring a Sherpa? No. There's no. Right? Unless you want a death sentence. Unless you want a death sentence for your career, you hire an expert guide to upgrade your career, because we're not talking about easy stuff here. It may be straightforward, but it's not easy. There will be challenges. There will be winds. There will be deep snow. You will need gear that you didn't realize that you needed. You will need a level of perseverance and strength and just an inner knowing that you got this, and a certainty that people have your back even in the hardest times. That's what we're here for. So if that's what you want for your career, it's time to book a call with us, thepeoplestack.com/book. Go to that link. It's going to bring you to our calendar page. Put in your name, your email, pick your time zone first, put in your name, your email, pick a time that works for you, and we're here to serve you. You're going to have a conversation about what's not working in your career right now and where you want to go. And if we're 100% confident that we can help you get there, that if we're 100% confident that we're the career Sherpas for you, then we're going to give you that custom tailored plan, and we're going to talk about what that's going to look like. If we're not 100% confident, we're still going to give you a plan to get ready. It's kind of like you talk with the expert Sherpa and they're like, oh yeah, you're not ready to climb Mount Everest yet. It would be too dangerous, but here's what I want you to do to get ready. Same thing here. So it's win-win. You're going to get so much clarity, so much value out of that conversation. Show up to the call, ready to get to the truth around what it's going to take to build your dream career. And it will be the most valuable, clarifying career conversation that you have ever had. I want you to build a new you in this new year. I want you to transform your career in this new year, but I can't want it more than you. All I can say is that I have felt the gratitude and the joy and the magic and the pinch me, is this real moments of building our dream and living it, and building our dream and living it, and saying, what's the next level? And what's the next level? You mean there's even more? Like Rob and I, our dream, 8 years ago, was to move to Boston and to live in Boston. And we made it happen. Like for the longest time, that was our dream. For me, it was to move to Boston and start my own business, start my own successful business. It's like I did it and I basked in that for a while. And I was like, this is great. Just let me enjoy this dream for a little bit. But then after that, it was like, what's next? What's next is traveling the world, is because we retired Rob. So we're location independent. We're homeschooling Carter. So it's kind of like we're completely location independent now. Once we feel safe to travel again, we're doing it. And that next level is traveling the world free of any location constraints. And that's what's next for us. So the question is, what's next for you in your career? Maybe you're at the point where you're feeling so stuck. Maybe you've been fired. Maybe you've been laid off. Maybe you've been given a severance package recently. And it's kind of like, okay, I need to dig myself out of this hole. Great. So what's next for you is to dig yourself out of the hole and get back to on purpose and get back to working as a technical leader again. But maybe you're already there, and it's kind of like, what's next for you is that next level. Is I've been a manager for X number of years, for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and it's time for me to get to that next level because I don't want to settle anymore. So for you, it's about, I want to get to senior manager, director, VP level, even C level. Maybe that's what's next for you. Maybe you've already done that, but you're realizing you're working yourself to the bone and you actually have absolutely no freedom outside of work and you're on call on Sundays when you'd rather be spending time with family. Okay, I've reached this level in my career, but now I want to do it with even more freedom and a Zen-like work-life balance. That's what's next for you. So that's what I want you to ask. What do you want to create for your career in 2021? And then hop on a call with us and we'll help you create it. thepeoplestack.com/book. That's what we're here to do, folks. We're here to make a massive positive impact. We're here to change the world one tech manager at a time. Join us on that journey. Happy New Year, everyone. Take care. Bye for now.